Well, hello there, my horror peeps. This is AJ, horror reviewer, here to give you a new movie review. And I'm kind of going with the theme of winter style horror flicks, so I'm doing 30 Days of Night from 2007. This one's rated R. It's like an hour 53, so it's a little longer. But it's pretty good. It's got a 51% Rotten Tomato. The fans gave it 56%. This one's on Netflix, just in case you're wondering. Let's just dive into this. Let's go. Directors, we've got David Slade, who directed Hard Candy. And then writers, we've got Stephen Niles, who did 30 Days of Night, Dark Days, the sequel to this one, which was, it was okay. And another writer is, I'm trying to look at my notes, Stuart Beatty, who did I, Frankenstein. He did the direct and screenwrite for that. We also got Brian Nelson, who also helped co-write this, who did the screenwrite for Devil, which I thought was a pretty decent movie, and he wrote Hard Candy as well. So let's go into the cast here. We got Josh Hartnett, which I think most people know him. I mean, he's a pretty famous actor. I know him best from, I know a lot of people, horror-wise, from the show Penny Dreadful. It's a pretty good show. Anyways, moving on, we got Melissa George, who I know best from Triangle. She's the main character. She's awesome. I mean, that was a trip of a movie. And last but not least, out of the main characters in this one, we got Danny Houston, who was in number 23. I mean, he's in so many movies. But that's the basic cast for that, and all the people involved that I recognize, at least. So basically, this takes place in a town, seems like small town in Alaska, where it's dark for 30 days straight, which is terrifying. Oh, imagine that. To make matters worse, there's a group of vampires that decide to come and terrorize this little town. And that's basically the synopsis. The plot of this is the townspeople are trying to survive, and a lot of them get slaughtered. And I like the look of the vampires. I maybe a lot of people won't, but I kind of liked it. A little slightly subtle. I mean, they're wearing like really like dapper like clothing, like nice. I'm just like, that's random, but I mean, it's kind of cool. It goes kind of nicely with the snow, because it's all snowy and dark. The blood in this is really realistic, I think. And I like some of the camera views. They go over top and show like just like the carnage and fire and just the town being destroyed. Yeah, they do some good work with the kill scenes, the action scenes, and I mean, a lot of I feel like a lot of acting was a little bit questionable, but for the most part, I'm not bad. They had to add a little love romance with the two main characters, Josh Hartnett and Melissa George. Like, then they were like, oh, we're not talking. Oh, we're going to talk at some point and figure this out. And so I feel like that was kind of unnecessary. But I guess it does pay off in the very end. So I'll just kind of jump through how this progresses. Basically, a group of the townsfolk are hidden in an attic, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to survive the next 30 days. And they stay up there for a while until they realize, yeah, somebody's going to come up and get them. They're gonna find them eventually. So they decide, we need to get supplies, figure out how we're going to survive. So they keep moving. More and more people get knocked off, and they try to figure out, oh, well, they hate light, the ultraviolet, like the sun. So they try to make a break for it to get these like ultraviolet lights that the grandmother of Hartnett has, because she's grown weed. So they figure out that ultraviolet helps, that kind of, can kill them because the sun can destroy them. So they do a little bit of that, and then they couldn't keep it going because the power keeps getting cut off. And towards the end, of course, there's a ton of oil because it's Alaska. They cut the oil pipeline, and the vampires set it ablaze so that nobody would know that vampires like tore through the town and killed everybody. They want to be anonymous and unknown. They just want to be like nightmares, basically, folklore, whatever you want to call it. Basically, main character Hartnett is in a building where it's pretty safe, and he decides this is kind of a weird. I don't know why he had to do this other than to save Melissa George, who's under a car with a child she saved, and the fire is raging. So Harden has to play the hero, and he runs out, or he shoots himself up with vampire blood because people, I guess, if you get bit, then you get their blood in you, then you basically become a less altered, or I don't know. It just seemed kind of interesting that they just kind of threw that in there. You become a vampire, but you're not like fully vampire because you can still control your actions in a way, I guess. So I was like, I could do without that. But anyways, so Hartnett shoots himself up. He runs out, and somehow he ends up killing the leader of the vampires, and then the rest of them go because it's getting close to the time where the sun is coming back, and that's basically the end, except the very last moment. Hartnett is sitting with his girl Melissa George, waiting for the sun to come up, and as the sun comes up, he just kind of turns to ash, which I think was a cool little ending, little element. Not a happy ending, but at the same time, the vampires are gone for now until the next movie, which I wasn't too impressed with. But this one was, I didn't hate it. I thought they did the vampires with a nice little touch, and they had their own language, which was kind of cool, and the long bloody gross nails with the teeth looked more instead of just having the two fangs, they're all just kind of like jagged, sharp teeth, which it's okay, I guess. But yeah, I would recommend this one. It's not a bad film. It's pretty good. It's a perfect winter horror flick, especially if you like gore. You need a little gore in your life for a horror flick. This is a pretty good one. It's not terrifying. Unless you find vampires like super scary. I've watched so many vampire movies that it's not really scary. It's just kind of like, oh, that's cool. And the gore, it's cool. The effects were sweet. But anyways, without further ado, I think I'll conclude my movie review. Click that subscribe button, if I can say that word correctly, and have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later.